This is the Ielts speaking test simulation. Welcome. Can I start by asking your name?
Sandra Bowles.
Nice to meet you. And are you studying or working at the moment?
Neither, I'm retired.
Oh, right. And whereabouts are you from?
I'm from Melbourne. I live in Murrumbeena. And when I say I'm retired, I write, act, etc.
Ah, excellent. So we're now doing part 1 of the Ielts speaking test simulation. I want to talk to you about social media.
Okay.
Which social media websites do you use?
Oh, too many. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. I think that just about covers it.
Quite a few. How much time do you spend on social media?
I suppose I could say too much, but I'm using it for research and keeping up with family and friends. So.
What kind of information about yourself do you put on social media?
Very little. Yeah, I tend to read a lot and see what everybody's doing. Keep abreast of what's happening in the film industry and what's happening in stage and what's happening with the news. But I don't really put information about myself out there.
Why is that?
I guess basically I'm a private person, but also because I don't like people knowing what I'm doing. I think it's a safety factor, security.
And is there anything you don't like about social media?
Oh, where do we start? I think people put far too much information about themselves out there. I mean, no one's interested in knowing what they had for breakfast or what time they went to bed or that they've got a headache. Yeah.
All right, now we're going to move on to part 2 of the Ielts speaking test simulation. I'm going to get you to describe something you like very much which you bought for your home. You should say what you bought, when and where you bought it, and why you chose this particular item, and explain why you liked it so much. You'll have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about the topic, and you have 1 minute to have a think about it beforehand. Here's a pen and paper so you can take some notes if you need.
Thanks very much.
All right, time's up.
Okay. Can I keep this?
And I pass that back as well, thank you. Okay, now please describe this item that you bought for your home.
I really, really needed to get new furniture because my cats had destroyed what I had. And I looked and looked and looked. A friend had said to me that there was a particular fabric that would not be affected by cat claws. So I went out hunting and found these 2 beautiful tub chairs, and I just loved them. They're just what I wanted. So I got them, had them brought home, and put them in place, and they were wonderful, very comfortable. Lasted for a whole year, and I just went out on the grassy verge a few weeks ago because the cats had destroyed them. So much for them being cat-proof. But they were very comfortable. And where did I buy them? They were from a shop called Plush over in Richmond. Can recommend it. It's
And what did you like about the product as well?
they're very, very comfortable. The back sort of goes around you, so it's actually very similar to the shape that we're sitting on, except it comes around even more. And so you're sitting there. You've got back support. You've got leg support. They're warm in winter, cool in summer, and the cats loved them.
Very nice. All right, now we're going to go on to part 3 of the Ielts speaking test simulation. I want to talk to you about creating a nice home. Why do some people buy a lot of things for their home?
Good question. I think that it really comes down to the personality and the character of the person, the person who lives there. If they like being surrounded by knickknacks and flufferys, they will buy lots of things and have lots of dust catchers. Other people like to have it very, very clean cut and minimalist. I fall in between. I tend to keep things. But yeah, why do people tend to have a lot of things about them? I think they're just expressing their own personality.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's very expensive to make a home look nice?
It can be, very, very much so. It can also be very inexpensive. It depends how you buy and where you buy, and what your perception of yourself and what your perception of things is. I mean, some people think that unless something has a big price tag, it's worthless. Mm-hmm. Other people see the intrinsic value in a seashell and think that's wonderful.
Yeah. Why do you think some people don't care about how their home looks?
Okay, it's almost a psychological question. I think there are a couple of different things. One is that they don't care. You know, for them, a house is just whatever it is. They're busy with their lives and don't care. Other times, it's how they feel about themselves. Perhaps in their own minds and in their own lives, it's disorder. So therefore, they don't see that there's disorder in their home. And it could also be a symptom of depression. So I mean, you've got different reasons.
That's right. Now, I want to talk about different types of homes. In what ways is living in a flat apartment better than living in a house?
It's not.
No?
No, I mean, in a house you've got much more space. You can have a lovely garden. You can have a front yard garden. You can have a backyard with a lemon tree and fruit trees and so on. In a flat, you're restricted in terms of space and storage. Mm-hmm. You may or may not have a balcony or a courtyard. Yeah.
Do you think that homes will look different in the future?
I do, given the environmental things now that we give thought to environment. I think that homes will, of necessity, get smaller mm-hmm. and be more energy efficient. Everything will be about saving space and energy.
And lastly, do you agree that the kinds of homes people prefer change as they get older?
Yes, I do. And I mean, whether it's a matter of preference or whether it's a matter of economic necessity is another matter. For me, it was the latter. For many, I think people tend to downsize as they get older. They don't want the work that goes into keeping a large home and a garden. So they downsize. Personally, I would much rather have a larger place. For me, it was easier to keep. But that's just me.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. That ends our Ielts speaking test simulation.
Okay, thank you.